Going on, you bunch of heathens? Today we are checking out a fat electrician video, or fat files rather, I should say, on America's Raisin Cartel. And I'm pretty sure I know what brand this is talking about, so this should be an interesting watch. Let's jump in.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I take a little bit of pride in the fact that I don't think I've ever engaged in just downright clickbait with an absurd title that has nothing to do with the video, and I'm not gonna start today. This is absolutely real.
Oh yeah.
Today we're talking about the United States Raisin Cartel, an entity that is so powerful at its peak was able to confiscate half of a farmer's crop and pay them absolutely nothing in return. This entity...
Wait, what? What the fuck does that mean? That sounds fucking... Oh, I don't even know what the fuck... I don't know what I was gonna say. Like, that sounds fucking insane. Jesus.
He was so powerful and so ingrained in the U.S. system that it took a 13-year legal battle going all the way to the Supreme Court twice before it could be overturned. And we're going to get into it right after a word from our sponsor. Yes, sweetheart.
Where are you?
Fishing, just like you told me to.
Where? I mean, your truck is still here.
I'm just upstairs playing Fishing Clash. It's too cold outside.
Nicholas,
What?
I told you I wanted real fish tonight, not from your game.
Oh, I thought you just wanted me to have fun.
No, never. I can't eat your
I was gonna say.
imaginary fish, just like I can't spend your imaginary internet money.
First of all, Bitcoin is real.
Whatever, your mother's coming over soon, so just go to the store and get some fish.
Okay, fine. Never gonna get laid.
You forgot to hang up, and if you want to get laid more, you gotta last more than 2 minutes.
Okay, first of all, last night doesn't count. It was doggy style, so that's technically 14 minutes, okay? Show some respect.
Bye.
Bye, I love you. Fishing Clash lets you catch way more fish than you ever could
I
in
can't
real life
believe...
from all over
I'm sorry, I can't believe that this fucking company allowed that to be the skit. That's fucking hilarious.
the
I
world,
fucking love
all in the
that.
comfort of your own home. Not only that, but Fishing Clash is completely customizable, allowing you to unlock and upgrade all of your equipment and even building your own fishing village. They also have daily and weekly events allowing you to compete against other people. But you don't just have to play with random strangers on the internet, you can actually join or make your own clan and play with your friends. In addition to that, they're always adding new features like customizable boats and the Versus Arena. And when you use
I'm sorry.
in addition,
It kind of just made me... Oh. I thought that said you'd better fucking bring it, because I saw Buck. Okay.
In addition
Never
to
mind
that,
then.
they're always adding new features like customizable boats and the Versus Arena. And when you use my discount code FATFILES, you're going to get $20 worth of free equipment and power-ups right out of the gate. So if you want to give Fishing Clash a try, I'm going to have a link and a code down below. Let's get back to the video. All right, so generally speaking, whenever you end up somewhere stupid, like, I don't know, having a raisin cartel, it's usually pretty beneficial to understand how you got to that.
Yeah, I'd love to know
point
how
so
the
that
fuck
you
we got
never,
to this
ever do it
point.
Again. So we're going to take it from the top. So our story begins in the 1930s during the Great Depression. Americans are poor and they're starving. So in 1932, they elect a new president, FDR, that is supposedly going to be able to turn this entire thing around. So once he gets into office, he pretty much immediately leaps into action, or wheels into action, issuing a ton of new economic policies.
No way. You didn't need to fucking say that, bro. That was a little under the belt. Not that he... Actually, no, he wasn't paralyzed. I just don't think he could walk because of the polio. I don't think he was, like, legitimately paralyzed. Whatever, either way, that was uncalled for, but funny.
Policies, most of which were done through executive order. These policies are usually all lumped together and referred to as the New Deal. Now, if you talk to somebody that was alive during this period of time, a lot of those people believe that the New Deal policies is actually what pulled America out of the Great Depression. And then if you talk to a lot of different historians or economists, they believe that the New Deal policies actually prolonged the Great Depression. Regardless, the policy that we're focusing on today is the AAA, or the...
Okay, so... I'm gonna... As much as it's cool that the people who actually lived through it think that it's what pulled America out, I'm gonna go with historians on this one, because I don't actually know. But if they're actually, I don't know. This would be actually really interesting to look into. What actually pulled us out? Was the New Deal, or did the New Deal keep us in a bit longer? That's kind of interesting.
Agricultural
So I wouldn't
Adjustment
know.
Act that happened in 1933. Now, what the Agricultural Adjustment Act attempted to address was the fact that pretty much nobody in America had any money for basically anything, including food. That meant if they couldn't buy food, demand went down, which meant the prices went down, which meant the farmers were making less money. And obviously that makes business very hard for the farmers, and some of them were
Yep.
going to go out of business and they weren't going to be able to keep up their operation, and we can't allow that to happen because then everybody's going to starve to death. So the policy's intent was
Historically
to solve
not a great
very
thing.
good problem that needed to be solved. However, how they decided to go about it was kind of fucking dumb. Under the Agricultural Adjustment Act, basically the government would collect tax money.
Okay, I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's the government trying to fix something. I imagine it's gonna fucking end up being fucking dumb. Just saying.
And then take that tax money and give it to farmers in exchange for destroying or just not planting a portion of their crop. Farmers were literally paid by the government with US tax dollars to burn entire
Oh, I think I've actually fucking heard about this. I think I've actually heard about this where one dude got in trouble with the fucking government because he was growing wheat or something like that on his farm. And he wouldn't destroy it like they were fucking telling him to. And he was eating it, and he was feeding his family with it and all that kind of shit. And he got into fucking legal trouble with the government over some bullshit over it, I think. I think that's what this is talking about. Or at least this was a product of whatever this is. Yeah, I think I've heard of this before.
fields of crops. They killed over 6 million pigs and just let the meat rot, and they dumped out millions and millions of gallons of milk.
It's amazing what these who's just throw away. Oh well.
Yeah, no.
One man's toxic sludge is another man's potpourri.
Okay, if you're not
Controversial opinion. I'm not that big a fan of Jim Carrey Grinch. Just saying.
picking up what I'm putting down as to why this was a stupid fucking idea, the people can't afford to buy food, which meant the farmers couldn't sell food. So the government came in and said,
I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
they then
And
went to the
then
people
wasted
that
the
can't
food.
afford food and took some of their money by force and then gave it to the farmers
To then destroy their food.
then destroy the food that these people need to eat because they're starving. And then the prices of the food went up. So now the people that already couldn't afford food definitely can't afford
Yeah,
food.
what-
It's literally
I don't understand what the fuck the actual plan. What was the legitimate plan here? I hope he goes into it because this makes no fucking sense.
so stupid it's evil. Luckily, we live in America. There's an entire system of checks and balances, and by 1936, the Agricultural Adjustment Act was deemed unconstitutional and overturned by the Supreme Court. So, realizing that what he was doing was stupid, evil, and unconstitutional, FDR just let the idea go like any normal person would. No, I'm just kidding. He pretty much immediately issued another program that was basically identical, but it was just different enough to not be unconstitutional this go around, and that would buy him a couple of more years before they could shut him down again. And that was called
I'm confused. What was the actual plan here to help Americans? Like, what was the actual plan? I gotta look into this after this video because let me write this down because I actually have to fucking look into this. I honestly don't know what the actual plan for this was. What was this? The Agricultural Adjustment Act, right? Yeah, I gotta look into this because honestly, I've got to know what the fuck the actual, like, what was the plan that this would somehow help people with? You know, I gotta know.
the Agricultural Marketing Agreement Act of 1937. Now, coupled with that, in 1937, FDR realized that they're just going to overturn his policies again at the Supreme Court level. So he then attempted to pack the Supreme Court so that he had enough people in the Supreme Court to just pass his policies through, whether they were unconstitutional or not. At this point in time, the Supreme Court had 9 Supreme Court justices.
Wow. Pretty sure was it? Hold on, I gotta look something up real quick. Okay, so it is. Wow. I knew FDR was kind of a piece of shit during World War II, starting the Japanese-American internment camps and shit like that. But holy shit. What the fuck is up with him? This
FDR
is
put
just
out a new
dog
policy
shit.
and tried to force it through Congress that would allow him to appoint 6 more for a total of 15 Supreme Court justices. Now, this act that would allow FDR to appoint more Supreme Court justices did not make it through Congress, but a lot of historians believe the reason it didn't make it through Congress was because as soon as all of this added political pressure got placed on the Supreme Court, and it looked like they were going to lose some of their power by diluting the entire court, some of them switched their opinion over to start letting FDR's New Deal policies through. This is commonly referred to as the switch in time to save the 9, referring to some of the justices switching their opinion over to save the effectiveness of the Supreme Court. Basically, the Supreme Court got bullied into letting FDR do what he wanted, whether it was unconstitutional or not. So now that the Supreme Court is scared to shut down FDR for doing anything unconstitutional,
So much for fucking checks and balances, huh? So much for that kind of fucking shit. Fucking love it when our government does this kind of shit, don't you? Don't you just love this?
in
It was fucking
1938,
amazing.
states a slightly modified version of the Agricultural Adjustment Act that they had already struck down. Buh! I don't know why you're making FDR seem like he was a bad president. He got us through World War II and he was a great guy. Buh! Okay, first of all, I don't know how he gets credit for getting us through World War II when he didn't even make it through World War II. He passed away before World War II ended.
Yep.
As for being a good guy, yeah, maybe, sure, as long as we're willing to overlook attempting to pack the Supreme Court so that he
Yep.
can continue to burn crops while Americans are starving, confiscating gold from American citizens via executive order, refusing to sign anti-lynching legislation because he didn't want to upset the Dixiecrat voter base in the South, solidifying the Federal Reserve, hiding his disability from the American voter so that he could be the only president to serve more than 2 terms.
Yeah, FDR. So I was right. FDR is a fucking shitbag. And everyone fucking praises him. God, FDR, you're a real
You're saying
shitbag.
yes. Let's talk about fine.
Persecuting 600,000 Italian Americans by declaring them an enemy of the state, where they were then subjected to confiscations, internment, and curfews. And
I actually didn't know this about the fucking Italian Americans. I knew about the fucking Japanese Americans. I didn't know this about the Italians.
125,000 Japanese Americans in camps where they lost their homes, their businesses, and had to stay there for years for no reason other than the fact that we were at war with Japan and their family or they came over from Japan to America because they thought America was better. So yeah, if we're willing to overlook all that,
Yeah, no,
he sounds
FDR was
chill
a
as fuck.
fucking real
Probably a great guy.
shitbag.
I'm getting sidetracked, I'm sorry. So this is the political landscape we have going into World War II. So World War II happens. America raises a massive army. I think it totaled in almost 16 million men throughout the course of World War II. And obviously, you gotta feed 16 million men. And one of the easiest food products to actually buy up and then preserve and ship across an entire ocean without it going bad happened to be raisins. So the United States is now buying up a ton of raisins. So obviously, the demand goes up, meaning the price goes up, meaning more people start making fucking raisins to sell to the US government, because that's how capitalism works. Fast forward, World War II ends, the entire military gets to come back home, resume civilian life. The military shrinks dramatically, meaning that you've got less men to feed, meaning that the US government quits buying so many raisins. Now, all the service
Makes
members
sense.
could go home and buy raisins on their own if they liked raisins, but guess what? Nobody fucking likes raisins, so nobody.
I used to. I've had raisins in a hot minute, but I used to actually like raisins when I was a kid because they'd always come with everything. I would actually enjoy raisins. I would trade stuff. I remember when I was a kid, if we got stuff in like little school pack lunches that they gave out, because they always had raisins in there, I would sometimes trade some stuff for raisins, or I'd just be like, hey, can I have your raisins? And they'd say, yeah, because they didn't need them. I actually used to like raisins. I haven't had them in a hot minute, but I didn't hate them. I actually enjoyed them a lot.
The price plummets, at which point capitalism should probably kick in again, and the growers are going to realize, oh, there's not a huge market for raisins anymore. I should probably do something else. Now that's what should happen. But in this particular instance, the government, for whatever reason, decides, you know what? I like raisins. I think we should keep overproducing raisins, and then the government will come up with some solution on how to stabilize the price of raisins.
This looks familiar.
Stop trying to fucking help.
Which is great news.
Yep, there's the cheese video, which I've seen. Like, seriously, would you just stop? Stop trying to help. You don't fucking help.
The U.S. government has a long proven track record of doing anything at all good. It's obviously stabilizing things. I mean, look at the Middle East. So the government
Don't
says,
look into my
here's
soul
what we're
like
gonna
that.
do.
We
Under
already
the
know.
authority of the Agricultural Management Agreement Act of 1937, we're going to use that authority to create a new government entity.
Oh my god, I just saw his shirt. I fucking love it. That's a great fucking shirt.
Entity that we're going to call the Raisin Administration Committee. We're going to have a whole government entity at the federal level solely committed to raisins. Now, right off the bat, that sounds kind of dumb, but don't worry, it gets way worse because the Raisin Administration Committee is actually directly under the authority of the Department of Agriculture. And the reason that's a big deal is because the Department of Agriculture was founded with executive authority in 1862, meaning that the Department of Agriculture is part of the executive branch of the United States government, which more or less means whatever policies they adopt internally are basically de facto written into law. And if anybody disagrees, they have to take them to court and prove that it was unconstitutional, which is a gigantic hurdle that takes years. Okay, if you're not picking up on
so it's a fucking shit show.
The federal government just created a new federal entity for raisins that has executive authority. So the Raisin Administration Committee immediately gets to work stabilizing the price of raisins, aka driving the price of raisins up, even though they shouldn't cost that much. So they get to work at doing it, and the plan they come up with how to do it is they're going to go to every raisin grower, farmer, manufacturer, however you want to do that. You fucking grow grapes and then you leave them out in the sun, whatever that guy is. They go to those guys and they're like, hey, here's the new policy that we've just written into law under nobody's authority. The new rule, the new law, is that you're going to have to give us a certain percentage of your crop every year based on however much we decide you're going to give us. And
depending on whatever the fuck I feel like it at that point in time.
You have zero recourse. We're going to take it for a grand total of free 99. We're not going to give you shit. And we're going to hoard it in the National Raisin Reserve. Now, once they're in the National Raisin Reserve, we can go ahead and do whatever the fuck we want with them.
Can we stop with this bullshit?
The military for rations. We're donating them to schools for school lunch programs. This is why every person my age and 20 years older than me and probably younger than me has eaten a shit ton of these in elementary school. It's because the government was getting them for free.
I fucking love those.
Them from farmers. Now, to be completely fair and intellectually honest, there was a way that the farmers could make some money from the National Raisin Reserve, and that was if the administration committee decided that they weren't going to donate it to school programs or the military or sit there and let it rot, which they did to a ton of raisins. They just literally rotted and they had to throw them away. If the entity did decide that they wanted to sell some of the raisins to a foreign market that didn't interfere with the American raisin price, whatever they sold that for, the farmers would get a kickback. But if they did sell it, it was at a highly reduced rate and the money amounted to nowhere near the cost of actually growing the raisin.
Yeah, so why the fuck would they continue to grow raisins if they're getting it taken from you? Like, if it's not fucking, if you're getting it taken, you're not even getting paid for this. Why fucking do it? Yet again, this still doesn't make sense to me. You're not getting anything for this, so it makes no sense.
Okay, do you understand what has happened? This is literally a raisin cartel. Like, this isn't clickbait. This isn't, oh, the fat electrician came up with a funny name for his YouTube title. No, the definition of cartel is literally, and I quote, an association of manufacturers or suppliers with the purpose of maintaining prices at a high level and restricting competition. It is straight up
that is a cartel.
Raisin cartel.
People, listen up. This is a national security emergency. We have an imminent threat.
The Raisin Administration Committee is literally rolling up to every raisin grower in the country saying, give me a cut or else. And this goes on from 1949 until 2015. But the hero of our story,
how the fuck does it last so long?
2002. And that hero is a humble raisin farmer by the name of Marvin Horn, who in 2000/2003 was told by the Raisin Administration Committee that this year they would be confiscating 47% of his crop and giving fucking nothing.
I'm sorry, federal government. You can go suck a fat cock. You're not taking my shit. Fuck you.
Return. Just so we're on the same page, the federal government rolled up to a raisin farmer and said, hey, I'm gonna steal 47%.
I don't remember who it was. It was someone who I watched a lot of. It was either Roanoke or someone else. You don't need to make up a reason to hate the government. The government already hates you. The government already does horrendous bullshit. You don't need to make up a reason for them to do so. God damn. Go suck a cock.
Of your crop, but don't worry, you can keep the other 53%. But I just need to mention, once you sell that 53% of your raisin crop, that's going to count as income, and you're going to have to pay income taxes. And then whatever money is left, you can have
so we're
to spend
double
on
steal.
whatever you want. But whenever you spend that money,
we're also going to fucking take another little bit of it. So it's just fucking theft after theft after theft. Taxation is theft. Government fucking steals from you. Fuck the government.
Also going to charge you sales tax. It's literally the mafia. Anytime money moves, you got to give the grape father a cut. Okay, you're dealing with the grape fellas. I'm so sorry. Okay, I did one dad joke. I'm done, okay? It's just the entire situation is completely unreasonable. Yeah, babe.
Nick, oh my god, I missed my period.
I know.
What do you mean you know?
I heard it through the grapevine.
Go fuck yourself.
Bye.
That was good, though.
Anyways, by this point, Marvin Horn is driven to the
Imagine, I'm calling it now. I would love calling it now. That was his subtle way of, in a couple months, he's going to announce that he's having another kid. I'm calling it.
brink. He can't stay in business functioning like this, so he's just driven to the edge, and he finally stands up for himself and he says, no, I'm not going to keep living like this. I'm not going to give you 47% of my entire crop. I'm going to keep everything that I own, and I'm going to sell it myself. And the Raisin Cartel is immediately furious.
Playing with my money is like playing with my emotions.
So the Raisin Administration
God.
Committee orders him to
I remember I ate a shitload of raisins as a kid. I enjoyed them, but holy shit, they look hideous.
pay back the value of the raisins to the committee, approximately $400,000. And then, because he wasn't a good little boy that just forked over half of his living, they decided they were also going to fine him an additional $200,000 for his disobedience.
Oh, so you're gonna take half of my living for nothing, but because I said no, then you're gonna make me pay you what you decide they're worth. On top of that, another 25% of what that's worth. Or whatever my full crop is worth. God.
Which apparently is completely legal.
Really
they have
making me
executive
fucking hate
authority,
them.
Which means apparently you can do
Really
whatever the
fucking
fuck you
hate
want
them.
all the time, and it's not against the rules. So Marvin Horn realizes he's going to have to defend himself, so he starts looking into the law, and he starts at the first place that you should always start, the Constitution. Okay, Amendment number 1 says I can pray to whoever I want and say whatever I want, and you're not allowed to stop me. Amendment number 2 says I have guns if you disagree with the first one, and rule number 3 says I don't have to have soldiers sleep in my house. Rule number 4 says no unreasonable searches and seizures. Oh, here we are. Rule number 5, where it clearly says, and I quote, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Sounds to me like it's a pretty clear-cut case of
Yeah,
it's a
you would think,
violation of the
wouldn't
Fifth
you?
Amendment. So obviously,
You would
they go
think.
to court. Marvin Horn wins immediately because he can literally read the 5th bullet point of the founding document of the entire.
It's not gonna be that fucking easy, is it?
A 12-year legal battle ensues. That
Imagine
goes all
that.
the way
Not
to
that
the
fucking
Supreme Court,
easy.
gets kicked back down into another district court, and then goes back to the Supreme Court again. So after a damn near 13-year-long legal battle, Marvin Horn finally wins with the Supreme Court siding in his favor in an 8-1 decision. And this is the part where I wish I
Fuck
could end the
yes.
video just saying like, hooray, the good guys finally won in the end, and it all worked out, and we all got together and sang Kumbaya by the fireplace. The Raisin Administration Committee lost its federal status, and they just became a lobbying group. The Federal Raisin Reserve evaporated into thin air, and it all went away.
It won't
and
be
all
that
was
fucking
right in
easy.
the
Of
world.
course it
But my
won't be
brain
that
doesn't
easy.
work that way because I have to know who the Supreme Court justice was that voted against Marvin Horn. So I looked into it, and of course, it was
Who's this
Supreme Court
bitch?
Justice Sotomayor. So I went, I found her dissenting opinion where she wrote it up. I'm not going to read it to you guys because it's like 20 pages and it's all in lawyer jargon. But the abbreviated version of her argument was she didn't believe what the Raisin Administration Committee was doing was technically a taking. And her justification for that was, well, technically, even though the Raisin Administration Committee did in fact take his shit without his permission, they could have potentially, if they decided to, sold some of those raisins. And if they did sell some of those raisins, they were gonna give him a small portion of the proceeds. Therefore, that's not technically a taking.
Go fuck yourself. That's not how this shit works. So you're telling me I could walk into anyone's house, steal their TV, and I could not. So what you're saying, go into someone's house, steal their TV, and because I had the option of maybe selling it, I should not be in trouble, and I may have paid them a little bit of money. I shouldn't be in trouble? Man, go fuck yourself. That ain't how this shit works.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Do you understand
Yes,
how
thank you.
violently stupid that opinion is? Okay, like let's apply this logic to any other situation. Okay,
Oh, is
let's
he gonna
say
be
that
me?
I'm a burglar and I break into your house. I sit you there on the table and I take 47% of all the shit in your house. I steal it. I walk away. I'm fucking gone. Later,
Yeah,
the
it's
cops
exactly what
catch
I
me,
just
okay?
fucking
And
said.
while I'm arrested in handcuffs and they take me into court, I look the judge in the face and I go, "Well, Your Honor, it technically wasn't me being a burglar and stealing because I was considering selling some of their shit at a heavy discount to a pawn shop. And if I did that, I had every intention of giving them some of the money back later." Do you think the judge would let me not go to prison? No, because that's fucking dumb. Okay, I don't even know.
That
how
is
I got
fucking
here.
dumb.
Okay,
I love how upset he gets about this because it's how we all fucking feel.
ago, I got an email. Somebody said, like, "Hey, fat electrician, you should look into Marvin Horn, the raisin farmer that defeated the federal government." And now I have this conspiracy theory about how FDR created a raisin cartel that extorted raisin farmers for 70 years straight. And I'm making a video for the internet, probably pissing off the raisin cartel. And now I need to go into
Fuck
witness
the raisin
protection because
cartel.
They're going to come and sun dry me and my whole family. I have to go. I gotta go
Sun
get ready
dry.
for an altercation with the Raisin Mafia, I think. Thanks for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang out.
Out.
And now we wait.
That is a sexy fucking rifle. Jesus. I love that. That is sexy as all get out. I fucking love it.
Yeah, babe.
You just got a weird package from the Raisin Administrative Company.
Do not open.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious. He just got unibombered.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Oh, whoops. That was fucking good. This was a really good video. It made me upset, but it was good. Well, that was Fat Electrician. Make sure you go and give him his props and his love to his video because he definitely fucking deserves it. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of me. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.
Go fuck yourself. Communism sucks.